On the spiritual side, I know it's a little weird, but I would like to actually explore a text that you might normally explore at Christmas, but there's a reason for it. Late last year, right around Christmas, I started to think about Joseph and just, he never speaks a word in the entire Bible. He's a character that is so central to the story and central to the text, and yet he speaks with his life and not his words. And I was really drawn to something in the text that God comes to Joseph when he's sleeping, which is something that feels like, yeah, of course, we know that. We know that Joseph has a dream, that the revelation of God comes in a dream. But I began to read the writings of Walter Brueggemann when Walter Brueggemann is reflecting on this to say that it is important and should not be missed that God comes to Joseph when his guard is down. When Joseph is engaged in the most ordinary and mundane act, when he's doing the thing that he does every night, the thing that we all do every night. Every day we do this thing that feels so ordinary, and yet God comes to him in the ordinary. And I began to think about how when we want to have a fresh encounter with God, and a lot of people think, well, I've got to go away, I've got to go to a holy place, I've got to enter a church, I've got to go to retreat. And you can find God in those places. In fact, I've seen people find God at retreats like Pastors, Priests, and Guides over and over and over again. I've experienced God in powerful ways on retreat. But what I see in that text is the more transformative thing and the more impactful, I think, spiritual truth is what it means to find God in the everyday, in the mundane, in the ordinary, to open our eyes to the God who meets us on the back porches. And not just when we go away from retreat, but where we lie down and where we wake up, and the places where we prepare food and where we spend time with our families. And there's a quote by Father Richard Rohr that God comes to us disguised as our own lives. And so what I hope to do, I think, in this talk is to give people a kind of awareness for where God might be showing up in their own lives so that they can take something that they experience in this retreat and they can go back and have retreat in their everyday life.
I love that. I mean, one of my kind of most deeply held spiritual beliefs, I guess, is that this is it in the best possible way, right? We're not waiting for mountaintops. We're not waiting for big overt signs and miracles. This is it. In the backyard, around the dinner table, with people we love. And one of my favorite all-time quotes, Eugene Peterson says, "To eyes that see, every bush is a burning bush." Right? We're waiting for the big stuff, but it's all here, embedded in our daily lives. I think that's so beautiful.
Yes.
And part of the reason it matters so much to me is because I forget so easily. So I need those reminders on it, oh, right, here we are. This is it. It's happening.
Yeah.